Hey, mamas. I hope that you all are doing well. Dr. Amber here, and welcome to the Balanced Working Mama podcast. Today's episode is a little bit shorter, and I want to really quickly talk you through three very easy steps for setting boundaries. So, some context for this. When we're talking about balance in motherhood, one of the big things that you really need to make sure that you're doing is setting boundaries. And these boundaries need to be with yourself, boundaries with your family, boundaries with your children, boundaries with your place of employment, really anything and anybody that can interfere with your ability to care for yourself, to prioritize yourself. There may need to be a boundary. And I know that can be uncomfortable, but it's so necessary, especially if we are committed to this idea of having more balance in motherhood. So, I want to talk you through three very easy steps for really getting started with your boundaries. I am referencing an article that I wrote. Oh my gosh, when did I write this article? This article is on balancedworkingmama.com. I'll try to remember to put a link in the bio for this. But you can definitely go back and read this. I also highly recommend that you all listen to episode 2 of this podcast. So while this is episode 93, I believe, yes, I'm still going to recommend and encourage you to go back to episode 2 because that is the very first episode where I really get into boundaries. And so there's a lot more in that one. However, three very easy steps to get started with your boundaries. So, number one, the first thing I want you all to really remember is that in order to start respecting boundaries that you set, you need to actually learn how to trust yourself. That is a very big first step because a lot of times when I talk to moms about setting boundaries, they're unsure about what boundaries to set. And a lot of times that comes from a place of them actually not knowing what feels good. They don't know what they need. And it's because they're really disconnected from how they feel or what's going on for them. So, really make some space for learning how to listen to yourself, but then once you can actually hear yourself, to trust yourself. So if you're struggling with actually hearing what your body needs, meditation is great for this. And when I say meditation, I don't mean that you need to do 10, 15 minutes at a time. 2 minutes. 2 minutes to just sit and breathe, and that helps you to connect better with your thoughts, your feelings, and your body. And from there, whenever you have a feeling that doesn't feel good, whenever there's something that doesn't feel right, whenever something just feels negative, that is how you know that there's something there and you need to trust it. So, that very first tip, respecting your boundaries, is really starting out with learning how to trust yourself and your body. Number two, the next step to truly respect your boundaries is to respect the boundary, you yourself. A lot of times, what happens if we set new boundaries, we expect that the other people around us will automatically follow them. However, if they don't see us respect, follow, and enforce our own boundaries, they're going to take our cues. So, for interest, if you've set a boundary that, you don't check your email, your work email after 5 p.m. However, you get an email at 5:05 and you're like, "Oh, I'm going to just respond real quick." You have not respected the boundary that you set. And so the other person who sent you that email will not respect your boundary either. And so you really have to get very good at respecting that boundary so other people will know that you are taken seriously. This example can be applied to any person or area of your life. If there is a boundary that you have set and other people have not seen you respect that own boundary, they will not either. So the big step in getting people to really respect our own boundaries is that we have to respect them as well. And then lastly, you all, number three, we gotta get comfortable with saying no. And I know that is so uncomfortable because no is hard. No is hard for women. No is hard for Black women. No is hard for moms. However, there is so much power in that word of no. And also, no is a complete sentence. And so just remember that if you are saying no to something, it doesn't mean that you then have to offer this whole explanation for why, or it doesn't need another sentence to go after it. No, period. And here are some ways to practice saying no, because I know there are some of you watching and you're thinking, but no is so uncomfortable. I don't like the way it feels, and I get it. So start out saying no to the small things that maybe don't matter as much, maybe the things that are kind of low stakes. So, for instance, if someone asks you for something and it's just like, just say no. Practice the small no's first before you get to the very, very big no's. And I assure you that as you practice with more of the smaller, easier no's, it'll be much easier to say no to that very big thing that really, really matters a lot more. So I hope that those 3 tips helped you. I am excited to support you on your journey of having more boundaries in motherhood. And I know that that'll help you with your balance. Bye.